Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my Daily Ruin. Today I'm going to be talking about stickers. This is the new mechanic coming out of Unfinity, and there is a lot of really interesting stuff going on with them, and I thought that instead of trying to make a bunch of different videos where I talked about different types of things that could happen, I would just make one video where I went over the entire mechanic and went over as many questions that I thought were likely to come up. Ready? Let's get started. So the first thing, what are stickers? And basically stickers are like counters that don't go away when the object changes zones. That's like a high level way to understand them, and I think that for most purposes that's probably about as good as any other kind of description, especially ones that are based on things that you're likely to have already encountered in your games of Magic. So that's basically what a sticker is. It's a counter that doesn't go away when the object changes zones. And we'll go into a little bit more detail about exactly what circumstances that's true, but I think that's a good place to start out with. And so now I'm sure everybody's wondering, well, gee, Dave, where do stickers come from? And this rule here in the comprehensive rules specifically says exactly how that happens. So in a constructed game, then each player who's playing with sticker sheets reveals all of their sticker sheets and chooses 3 of them at random. So the stickers come on sticker sheets, and we'll have a picture of one coming up so you can see what those look like. In a limited game, though, each player chooses up to 3 sticker sheets, not at random, but like you just choose them from among those that are in the sealed product that they open. So, if it was a sealed, then like the booster packs from your sealed pool, then maybe there would be some sticker sheets within those booster packs, and so all of those would be ones that you could choose your 3 from. On the other hand, if you're in a draft situation, then that's how you would get the sticker sheets is by drafting. So in either case, the player has access only to the stickers on the chosen sticker sheets during the game, and those sticker sheets remain revealed. So, interesting fact here is that in a constructed zone, they pick at random, whereas in a limited game, they pick, just normally. Now, there's no conceivable reason that I could come up with for why this would be different, except for the obvious one, which is that they wanted to nerf stickers so that they were not competitively viable. This is one of the things I really don't like about this mechanic. In my opinion, this is extremely inelegant, and if they wanted to nerf stickers so that they didn't show up in a competitive environment, they could have done what they did with conspiracies, where they just banned all of them in competitive formats, or maybe they could have got all of the stickers that were a silver border mechanic and put the little acorn sticker on them, and then we wouldn't have to worry about how they worked in competitive environments. So this sort of ham-fisted attempt to change the stickers' functionality in between limited and constructed games is really kind of confusing to me. But that is the way that it works. And also, by the way, in constructed play, a player who chooses to play with stickers has to start the game with at least 10 sticker sheets that all have a unique name. Not only do you need to choose 3 at random, you need to choose 3 at random from 10 total, and they need to all be all 10 different. And I can imagine that this could be kind of an obstacle to somebody who wanted to play with stickers. Also, that you would need to come up with 10 different sticker sheets, and you need to go through and make sure that you didn't accidentally grab 2 of the same one. And then on top of that, you'd have to make sure that you hadn't lost any of the little sticker thingies that are on the sticker sheets. Again, another thing that makes this really not a constructed friendly kind of a mechanic. But of course, it is possible to play with stickers in constructed. So it's important to know about how this sort of stuff works. So okay, how do I put stickers on my cards? Very carefully is the advice that I would give you. I've heard some reports that the intention for stickers obviously is that you could put them on the cards and take them off, and there would be no sticky residue on the cards. I've heard some reports, early reports indicating that the stickers that we have in real life do not always live up to this ideal. So I would certainly recommend against physically placing stickers directly in contact with actual expensive cards. Definitely be aware of that, and use card sleeves would be the best way to do it. Of course, you're still running the risk that you get the little sticker residue on the sleeves that might make it harder to shuffle, but that's better than gumming up your actual Magic cards. That's kind of what sleeves are for, right? So that's a practical answer to this question. Here's a more like gameplay focused answer to this question. So step one, you have to have an unused sticker, right? So like we talked in the previous slide about if you were using stickers, then you would need to have some of those sticker sheets. So you would need to, on those sticker sheets, have an unused sticker that you could put onto the card. If you do not have an unused sticker, for example, because you have somehow used all of them from the sticker sheets that you started with, or more likely, because you just didn't start with any sticker sheets, then it is not possible to put a sticker onto a card. So that is one thing. Now, that is specifically called out in this rule here. Now, one other thing that's kind of interesting about this rule here is if an effect instructs a player to put a sticker on an object, that player chooses a sticker that is not currently on any objects they own from among the stickers they have access to and puts it on that object. Now, the way that I read this rule says to me that if you have a sticker on a card and then you have that card move into a hidden zone, such as your hand or a library, that causes the sticker to fall off. And if I'm reading this rule correctly, that rule says that once it falls off, it goes back onto the sticker sheet thing. So that would mean that you would, in fact, be able to reuse that sticker after it has fallen off that way. So go ahead and post in the comments if you disagree with that. But I think that's, I think that's the most natural way to interpret that rule there. We don't have an updated MTR that covers this sort of thing yet, as of the time of this filming. If more information comes out, I'll put it in a pinned comment. So here's some other kind of important things about how to put the stickers on your cards. So you cannot put any stickers on a permanent you don't own. I'm very glad that they added this rule in because, of course, that makes it so it is impossible for somebody to attempt to put a sticker on a card that they don't own. And again, if the card gets damaged or if there's sticker residue that doesn't quite come off there, that would be a really sticky situation there. So you also need to pay the ticket cost if the sticker has one. So you see the little symbol here. This is a ticket. Certain stickers, that would be the ability and power toughness stickers, have a ticket cost that it is required for you to pay the ticket cost in order to put the sticker onto something. And that's mostly for game balance reasons. It would be pretty rough if you could put a 6/6 power toughness sticker on your 1/1 creature at the beginning of the game. So the tickets is what they came up with in order to keep people from doing that. So basically, if you were playing in the Kaladesh block, tickets are energy. Like literally, it's pretty much the exact same thing as energy. Right up including the fact that tickets count as counters. Right? So like you can think of this as saying you get a ticket counter. And that means that like if you have proliferate, for example, you could proliferate those counters. It's a counter that the player has. Sort of like an infect counter, only something you would want to have. Okay. That's all the rules that govern like how you physically get stickers onto your cards. So alright. Now the cool thing about stickers is that they stay on the cards, unlike counters, which of course go away after the creature or the permanent has left the battlefield. The stickers stay on. They stay on as the permanents the cards move from zone to zone. The exception is they get removed as the card moves to a private zone. So that would include your hand or the library. Those are private zones. And as mentioned in the previous slide, if the sticker goes away that way, it goes back on the sticker sheet so you can reuse. Now, this is kind of interesting. This is kind of an interesting thing about like how stickers work with continuous effects. Stickers get a new timestamp whenever the object that they're on gets a new timestamp. If there are multiple stickers on that object, then their relative timestamp order remains the same. So basically, this just means that if you have stickers on something, those stickers are going to have like the closest possible timestamp to the thing that they're on while being after it. And that, in general, is going to lead to results that I think are like the most sensible, lead to results that like correspond to what people think should happen, I think. And then, of course, we put our friend Gisela the merge, or the Gisela the meld permanent on here because with meld and merge, the way that stickers work is if you have two things that meld or merge together, all of the stickers from the component things that came together are going to be on the resulting permanent. Okay? And when they break apart, like for example, if they go to the graveyard or the exile zone or something else, then the person who owns those cards gets to choose which component each sticker will remain on. So you could put all of the stickers on Gisela, you could put some of the stickers on Gisela, and some of them on Bruna, or you mix and match however you want. So for each sticker, you'd have to say which permanent it's, or which card it's staying on. All right, so name stickers. There's 4 different kinds of stickers. So this is a sticker sheet, and you can see that there's all 4 kinds of stickers on there. You've got name stickers, which is going to be these guys up here. You've got your art stickers, which is these guys over here. You got your ability stickers, which is these guys over here, and you've got your power toughness stickers, which is down here. So you can see the ability stickers and the power toughness stickers have a ticket cost, whereas the name and art stickers do not. So we're going to spend most of our time talking about the name stickers because these are the ones that actually like have the most kind of weird, non-intuitive or like not obvious interactions. So let's start out with name stickers change the name of the thing that they're on. Duh. This happens via a text changing effect. So what happens is there's a text changing effect that acts on the permanent that says, okay, your grizzly bears now has the word elf in its name, or trapeze, or misunderstood. And we'll talk about exactly like how that happens in the next slide here. But for now, only the name changes. So card types and creature types stay the same, even though, like for example, elf here happens to be a creature type. But if you were to put an elf sticker in the name of grizzly bears, it would not turn into an elf creature. Its name would be Grizzly Bear's Elf, or whatever you said it would be, but it would not become an elf. It would not be getting buffed by Elvish Champions, for example, because that looks for the creature type and not the card name. There's lots of cards that have creature types in their names, and usually that also means that it would have that creature type, but there's no rule that specifically says that would have to be the case. Another kind of interesting situation is that, like, maybe if we made this a Dredge Skeleton's elf, you might be concerned. Would this ability still regenerate the Dredge Skeletons? Because it says regenerate Dredge Skeletons. It doesn't say regenerate Dredge Skeleton's elf. And so yes, even if you change the name of the permanent, the text that is on it that refers to the object by name means this specific object. So that would mean that even if this became a Dredge Skeleton's elf, the ability would still regenerate it just the way it always does. And that's because of this rule here. So, okay. When you place a name sticker on a card, you have to say where in the name that you're putting it. So you can go before or after any of the words. And for the purposes of this discussion, a word is a string of non-space characters that is separated by one or more space characters. So basically, grizzly would be a word, and bears would be a word. Hyphens are not something that breaks up a word. So, like, if you were to have a card with a hyphen in its name, the spaces are what separate the words. So the hyphenated word would still count as one word. And other kind of punctuation marks, like apostrophes, for example, would work the exact same way. So you'd have to say, like, here before grizzly, or here like after grizzly and before bears, or maybe here after bears. Those would be our valid choices to put the name sticker in the grizzly bear's name. And you don't have to like physically try to put the sticker in the space. There probably isn't going to be enough room to put any of the name stickers like in here, for example. There might not be if you try to do here, unless you got creative a little bit. But you just have to like stick it on there and say what the new name is, basically. Now, this does kind of raise an interesting question, and this is another thing that I don't really like about stickers, which is that they don't really make a whole lot of sense if you are playing non-English cards, because the actual CR, the actual rules, is that you would use the English name to determine where the valid spots to put the stickers are. So if you had the French grizzly bears, that card name only has one word. However, it would still be a valid choice for you to say, I am putting this sticker after the second word in this card name, even though the actual physical cardboard that you're using only has one word in its name. And that does not make a ton of sense. And it makes even less sense if you were to play in some of the other languages that don't typically have spaces at all in the card names, or certainly not as many spaces as we might be accustomed to in the English language. But they don't really work out very well. But that is how you would use the English name to determine what the valid spots to put the sticker are in a competitive event. I believe the officially endorsed way to do this at a not competitive, not sanctioned or whatever event would be to just use the card name as printed. So again, it's one of those things that I don't like about stickers, because it's one of those things that only works if you don't think about it too much, I suppose. So another thing, by the way, speaking of things that don't really work super great unless you speak English, would be these cards here that specifically say that we put a sticker on it, and then you've got a effect that's based on how many unique vowels there are on the sticker. So in the comprehensive rules, it specifically defines that these are the vowels, and for people for whom you might not be, for people who are not native English speakers or speakers of a language that uses the Roman alphabet, you might not know that each of these A, E, I, O, U, and Y vowels has two forms. There's the uppercase form and the lowercase form. And this is one of those scumbag things that English, and I guess we can't claim a monopoly on this one, because most of, if not all of the languages that use the Roman alphabet do this. But this is one of the scumbag things that English does, is that these letters are actually the same letter. This and this is both A. And it would not be, these ones at least look the same, like the O and the U and maybe the Y. But certainly, I would not expect someone who had not seen an A before to identify that this should count as the same letter as this. But in the comprehensive rules, that is in fact how it works. Uppercase and lowercase versions of the same vowel do not count as two different vowels, they count as the same vowel. And also, Y is a vowel all of the time, even if the word that has a Y in it is not using the Y as a vowel sound, because Y sometimes is used as a consonant sound. But it's always considered a vowel. So there you go. Magic has officially settled that debate once and for all. Alright, so now we're going to get to the fun stuff. And this is some rules questions related to how name stickers work. And I pulled a lot of these straight out of the comprehensive rules, because they actually are some really good examples, and they used really good cards for it. So we've got the Fae of Wishes, right? Now, we're going to put the name sticker Misunderstood on the Fae of Wishes. So now it's the Fae of Misunderstood Wishes. Alright, now, let's say that we were to, for example, exile the Fae of Wishes, and then, somehow cast it as a granted. Right? Now, when we cast it as a granted, that means that the name of this card is now granted. However, there's a problem, because we said that we were putting after the second word the misunderstood sticker. However, there is no such word in the name granted. There's only one word. So the answer to that question is that its name is now granted misunderstood, which is, I think, probably what most people would expect the answer to be, but that's what the answer is. And then later on, if we were to play the Fae of Wishes and have it be a Fae of Wishes, then the game remembers that it misunderstood is supposed to be in the position after the second word. So it would return to being the Fae of Misunderstood Wishes. So I think that works out probably the way that most people would probably expect. Now, if we had something like a Shapesharer that had likewise the ability to change its name, we would have the same sort of thing apply. So if we had the Shapesharer turn into a creature that had a 5-word name, and we put the name sticker on after the 4th word, then we would have it be Shapeshifter Elf after it returned back to being its normal form, Shapeshifter. And then if later on we had it become a copy of another card that had like a 6-word name now, the game would remember that the elf word in the Shapesharer's name is supposed to be after the 4th position. So that works out pretty much the way I think most people would expect it to, too. So that's good. That's good. Witness protection. Now, this is a really interesting one. So let's say that we had our grizzly bears, and then we made it into a grizzly bear's elf. And then afterwards, we put the grizzly bears into witness protection. So what would be the name of this card at that point? So if we were to take a look at witness protection, it uses a text changing effect to modify the name of the permanent. And that is great news, because that's exactly the same thing that these stickers do. So that would mean that there are 2 text changing effects that are acting on the grizzly bears that want to change what its name is. And so therefore we would do the exact same thing that we always do with continuous effects when there's multiple continuous effects that are applying in the same layer. There's no dependency here, so we would just go based off of timestamps. So whichever timestamp is earlier will apply first, and then whichever timestamp is later will apply that. So based on the original problem statement, I said we put the sticker on first, so we're going to change the name of grizzly bears to grizzly bears elf. And then afterwards, witness protection is going to change the name of grizzly bears. And it's going to change it to legitimate business person. And it loses all the other names. So that would mean that if we had something that set the name to a specific thing, that basically overrides the fact that there might be any stickers on it. So it's just going to be legitimate business person. Now, of course, later on, we could, of course, put some more stickers on the grizzly bears, and that would make it a maybe misunderstood legitimate business person, or a legitimate trapeze business person, something like that. So if you were to do that, then you would, change the name, and those would have a later timestamp than the witness protection has. So that's why those would be able to affect the name, whereas the one in the original problem statement could not. And finally, this is the one that kind of has the most potential for being competitive viable. So if you have a pithing needle, it says to choose a card name. Now, when you choose a card name, you are only allowed to choose a real, original, non-modified card name. It has to be the name of a real card without any help. And so that would mean that when Pithing Needle is asking you to choose a card name, you could not name Grizzly Bear's Elf. But it would be possible for you to use name stickers to make your Grizzly Bears into a Grizzly Bear's Elf. And of course, that's not a great example because Grizzly Bears doesn't really have any activated abilities. But you could see that this could work pretty good for some card that did have activated abilities that you wanted to use. So, for example, if you had Jace the Mind Sculptor, you could have Jace the Trapeze Mind Sculptor, and then your opponent's Pithing Needle would be completely powerless to stop you from Mind Sculpting every turn. You could activate the abilities just like normal because you are not activating the abilities of a source with the chosen name. Because they did not choose the name Jace the Trapeze Mind Sculptor. They chose the name Jace the Mind Sculptor. And furthermore, it is not possible for them to play a Pithing Needle and name Jace the Trapeze Mind Sculptor, because even though there is a permanent with that name on the battlefield, it is not the name of any card in the Oracle database. And so therefore it is not a legal choice for a card name according to the first ability here. So now let's move on to ability stickers. And these are a little bit more straightforward. There's a couple of important things that I want to talk about here though. First of all, they grant an ability via an ability adding effect, not a text changing effect. So that would mean that text changing effects happen in layer 3, ability adding and removing happens in layer 6. So it would be kind of similar to, but not the same thing as, saying this has hexproof. It would be more like if there was a hexproof counter. This ability sticker would be basically the same thing as a hexproof counter that was also enabled to stay on the permanent as it moved between zones. So one important fact is that it's not an ability that's on the card that says this has hexproof, giving hexproof to the Grizzly Bears. Rather, it's a sticker that's giving that ability. And the fact that the sticker exists on the Grizzly Bears means that there's something that wants to give hexproof to the Grizzly Bears. Basically, the reason that this is important is because there's a card called Dress Down and Humility and some other stuff that removes abilities from cards. Now, I made a video a while back where I talked about how like Dress Down could cause a dependency issue if there was some ability on the card that says this card gains this ability. But there is no dependency issue with stuff like Dress Down, and so that means that this would just go based off timestamp. So if you put the hexproof sticker on the Grizzly Bears and then played a Dress Down, then it would not have hexproof. Because first it would gain hexproof and then it would lose all abilities. On the other hand, if you had a hexproof, or if you had a Dress Down in play, and then you put a hexproof sticker on something, then that thing would have hexproof, because first it would lose all its abilities, and then it would gain hexproof. So that's how those would work. And that's really like the only kind of interesting thing about how those work. There isn't a lot of weird or non-intuitive stuff as far as I can tell with the ability stickers. And then power and toughness stickers. Same sort of idea. Power and toughness stickers change the power and toughness via a 7B layer, not a text changing effect. So they work in the same spot as like other stuff that says the base power and toughness is like some number. In particular, that happens after state or characteristic defining abilities set power and toughness. So if you had like a Tarmogoyf or something, for example, the Tarmogoyf would have a power and toughness that's set by the ability the Tarmogoyf has. But if the Tarmogoyf had a 4-2 power toughness sticker on it, then it wouldn't matter how many card types were in the graveyards. It would just be a 4-2. Because that happens in a later layer than characteristic defining abilities happen. And so that means that you would be a 4-2. Alright, and so one other really kind of interesting thing about how power and toughness stickers work is like, you're allowed to have a power and toughness that's not doing anything. Right? So it's 100% legal to put a power toughness sticker on, whatever you want. As long as there's not, something on the card or in the rules that says you can't put a sticker on it. But like, stuff that's not a creature, yeah, sure. Give it a power toughness, no problem. That does not make it into something that has that power and toughness, because power and toughness is a thing that only creatures can have. Okay? So it's just like a vehicle that's not animated can have a power and toughness. And then when you animate it, it becomes a vehicle creature that has that power and toughness. And that's the only time when the power and toughness is relevant, is when it's a creature. So if you had the Sky Skiff and you made it into a 6/6 Sky Skiff with the power toughness sticker, then when you crewed it, it would become an artifact creature, and then its power and toughness would be 6/6 because that's what the sticker says it is. So that's great. That works perfectly. If you had an Azorius Keyroom, you could put the 6/6 power toughness sticker on it. And that would work. That would do the thing of putting a sticker on Azorius Keyroom. However, if you were to animate the Azorius Keyroom, let's notice that it becomes a 2/2 white and blue bird artifact creature. So then there would be two power and toughness setting effects that are acting in layer 7B that want to set the power and toughness. One of them says it wants to be a 2/2, one of them says it wants to be a 6/6. And just like what we said with the witness protection, the one that has the later timestamp is going to win. And most of the time, that's probably going to be the one from the ability that's animating the artifact. So vehicles work a little bit different because the crew ability, as you can see here, does not say anything about setting the power and toughness. It just makes it into an artifact creature. And so once it becomes a creature, then the power and toughness that's on it actually does something. However, this one has to make it into a creature and also give it a power and toughness. And unfortunately, when you give a power and toughness to something, that's going to overwrite the power and toughness that might already be there for whatever reason. And so that's the difference between like how these two things work with the power toughness stickers. Now there's only one kind of sticker left, and that's art stickers. And an art sticker on a permanent has no effect on gameplay other than to act as a marker. So there's some stuff that looks for stickered permanents. Guess what? If you got an art sticker, that's still a stickered permanent. So, but that's basically it. Like, there isn't any like weird rules or crazy interactions going on with art stickers because they literally have no effect on gameplay. Now, of course, that's in competitive LAN, which is the only place that I really have any jurisdiction. Of course, they do have effects on gameplay if you're playing with uncards, but in those cases, the answer isn't really whatever Judge Dave says. It's whatever you and your friends agree on. That is the highest law of the land in formats that use art stickers and cards that care about the card art. Because unfortunately, they could not find a way to get card art matters pushed past into the black bordered realm. And so that is all of the stuff that I had prepared. Huge mechanic, definitely a lot of really weird and interesting stuff going on. I'm sure I didn't get to all of the questions that could possibly come up. So if you do have some other questions about stickers, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them to the best of my abilities. But for now, that is all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another Daily Ruling. But until then, I hope you have a great day.